Assalamu alaikum once again. Welcome back for this short video. As I promised, I'll continue verse number 5 from Surah At-Tawbah, that is chapter 9 and verse number 5. Verse number 5 basically reads as follows in Arabic. First, فَإِذَا انْسَلَخَ الْأَشْهُرُ الْحُرُمُ فَاقْتُلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ وَجَدْتُمُوهُمْ وخذوهم واحصروهم واقعدوا لهم كل مرصد فإن تابوا وأقاموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة فخلوا سبيلهم إن الله غفور رحيم. This in English version would be, then when the sacred months have passed, kill the polytheists wherever you find them, and capture them, and besiege them, and lie in wait for them at every ambush. But if they repent and perform the prayers and give the alms, then let them go their way. Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. Before I go into details in this particular verse, I would like to reiterate one thing which has been mentioned in my last video. That is the term al-mushrikeen. We've seen al-mushrikeen repeated many times in these many verses. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. Now, as I said, al-mushrikeen in these particular verses, especially in Surah At-Tawbah and throughout the Quran, it is basically written attached by al in Arabic. That is the article of identification. Just like when we say a book and we say the book. If we say the book, we are talking about a specific book known to us and we are referring to it. But when we say a book, it is unknown to us, could be any book. So the same thing here, al-mushrikeen, it's basically attached to alif lam and then mushrikeen. So when it is attached to that becomes identifiable group. So the Quran talks about a very specific group. They are identified, they are known among the Muslims, and they are especially targeted, not randomly targeting. So it's a very specific group, and that basically it exposes the fallacy of the Muslim fundamentalist view that al-mushrikeen, that encompasses everybody that is non-Muslim. It's got nothing to do with the denomination here. It's specific, those who opposes Muslims, but rather it talks about a specific group of people who have conspired to attack the Muslims, who have broke their peace treaty signed with the Muslims, and also have aided others to launch an attack on Muslims. So these are a very specific group. They're not necessarily the opposite to the Muslims or the non-Muslims, as they say. That's very important. I wanted to reiterate, and I may repeat this as I go along with my other videos. Now, number 5. Number 5 is just basically saying that when these 4 months have been assigned to offer sanctuary and peace time to those who have actually broken the treaty, who have conspired against the Prophet and his people, and who have done horrible things, and they attack the Muslims and so on from one side. But even that, as I said, verse number 1 has given the Muslims, or these non-Muslims, sorry, the mushrikeen, the specific group, 4 months. This verse declares that when these 4 months passes away, and the months of Hurum, they call them, the Quran calls them. They are known, you could refer to them and maybe Mr. Google could tell you what are these months, but it's really irrelevant right now. And then the Quran orders the Muslims to what? When these months pass, kill the polytheist. Now, this particular statement have been really taken out of context by the Muslim fundamentalist groups. You name them, Wahhabi, Salafi, some group of the Shias, some groups of the Sunnis. In every religion, in every school of thought, there are some extremists. I'm not talking about everybody. So the verse surprisingly says, فَقْتُلُوا, kill them. Kill who? Al-Mushrikeen, the polytheists. Once again, to kill who? This is like in the context of war. So the peacetime have ended. They broke the treaty, the peace treaty with the Muslims. The Muslims, with the command of the Quran, gave them 4 months to think about and to try to maybe change course and so on. So after 4 months, the Quran made it clear to them that after 4 months, there will be violence and war engagements. It's either you come along the way and you don't participate in any activities that could undermine and hinder the message of the Prophet, or show your intention exactly what you want to do. If you want to continue fighting, then we are ready to fight. So when they are ready to fight, then the Muslims were ordered to fight them back. So فَقْتُلُ الْمُشْرِكِينَ, kill them. That is in the context of war. When the war begins, of course, in any war, you don't give flowers to the enemy. You begin fighting, engaging, and which includes killing. So kill the polytheists, the specific group that is known to the Muslims who have who are guilty of the breaking the peace treaty and so on. Once again, I'm repeating this. I hope you don't mind. So to kill those or to engage them in the war, so there will be war with them. There will be violence with these specific group al-Mushrikeen. Not all al-Mushrikeen, but this specific group who have committed these crimes which have been mentioned in the previous verses, and I also alluded to them in my previous videos. So kill them, says those specific group, meaning resume the war activities with them if they wish to fight. That's obviously, it talks about war context. Wherever you find them, this is very much, it feels like there is a war going on. So war has resumed. When a war resumes between two parties, there will be killing, and each party willing to kill the other party. So the Muslims are ordered to finish this particular group, finish them, or at least they engage them. So they give them options. In this particular engagement, violent engagement with this specific group, al-Mushrikeen, either you kill them, meaning you attempt to engage them one-on-one, they could be killed in the process, or khuduhum, capture them, or besiege them, or try to find them. So there are many methods and many commands as to how to engage them, how to neutralize them, and how to put them out of order once and for all. It's either killing, which is one-on-one engagement of war, or capture them, make them, subdue them, or surround them, or try, if you don't know where they hide out, obviously this is a method to teach the Muslims how to root out these elements if they hide away. To do what? To try to wait for them in ambush. If you see them, if you could identify them, then pursue to capture them or engage them if they refuse to surrender. Kill them. This is very much clearly, it talks about a war, in the context of war. And again, it's a specific group, because all of Mecca, the majority are mushriks or polytheists, but they're not talking about those people, because it says wait for them. You cannot wait for 10,000 people. They're all obvious to us. Obviously, when it says wait for them, try to capture them, that means they have probably melted away among the population of Mecca or Medina. So it's very clear from this verse and the other ones as well. It talks about a specific group from among the mushriks or the idol worshippers or the polytheists, not all the polytheists. Those who have actively participated in conspiring and undermining the message of Islam. So, but then it says, if and then after all those troubles by trying to capture them or wait in them, to ambush them, to kill them and so on, which a full-scale war by the very meaning of the word. But if something happened here, but if they repent, meaning they retreat, they go back from their attempts, from their intentions, because tabu, repent. Repent means go back. To go back on their attempts and their intentions to fight the Muslims. So there is a change of course in here. فَإِن تَابُوا, if they repent and perform prayers and pay zakah or alms, then when these 2-3 conducts been practiced or manifested from these polytheists on the ground, that looks like an evidence of their sincerity of going back and repenting and embracing the faith of the Muslims. And then the orders comes from Allah to the Muslims, then you leave them, let them alone, because Allah is merciful. And it says, then let them go their way. Allah is most forgiving, most merciful. Now let me pause about this very quickly before I end my video. From the wording of this verse, some may suggest that, oh, what about the verse number 256 in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 256, where it says there is no compulsion in religion. But here it may appear to be there is some kind of compulsion, otherwise they face death. It says if they perform prayers or if they repent, meaning they become Muslims, or they join the Muslims, they become believers, and they perform prayers and they pay zakah. It very much sounds like they are forced into becoming a Muslim, or at least they fear for their life, so they have to become a Muslims. That's what it sounds like, and that's how the Muslim fundamentalists really interpret this verse from its apparent meaning. But rather, it is absolutely not, because the following verse gives us a more clarification. So, in other words, when this engagement between the Muslims and this specific group of the polytheists, from among the polytheists, basically they show some willingness to change course and they become Muslims, then they have to be let go. But the other scenario is, what if they refuse to become Muslim? They refuse to pay zakah and perform prayers. What do you do in this case? The next verse will explain to us this, and at this point I will let my video end in here. On this note, thank you. Wassalamu alaikum.